Hello everyone, and welcome back. It is Thursday, and you know what that means. It is time for Tier 1 racing action. Joining me, as always, Unicorn. How you doing?
Well, after last night's race strip, I think I can only be very, very excited for this one. France has provided racing action that I really haven't seen before. That strategy development yesterday was something so unique. And well, Tier 1, it's got a high bar to hold itself to with Tier 2's race yesterday, but they've delivered this season. They've delivered some really exciting races, and I think tonight is going to be nothing short of that.
Yeah, it's built up this week for Tier 1 action, of course, and I could not be more excited for this 10th round for the division. Let's take a look, of course, at the Paul Ricard circuit here in Le Castellet, France. 15 turns, 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles in that. And, well, it's a very high-speed circuit, I'd say, with a lot of runoff area. Safety cars, not the, not the standard, I guess. Not something that's very common that you would see here in France, whereas, you know, we just came out of, Canada, Baku before that, Monaco, where we have a bit more safety car probability, but here not so much. Round 10, of course, not next week. I want to say next week because usually it's just, you know, back to back we go Unicorn, but next week we have a break week for Easter, of course. Now, the 11th round will take us to Austria. Following that, we have Britain, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Singapore, Russia, as well as Japan, the United States, Mexico, Brazil, and then the 22nd round of racing for Season 4. It will be Abu Dhabi. Of course, massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. You can check them out on their website for some awesome sim racing rigs and great gear for the sim racing enthusiast. And of course, big shout out to them. Check them out. They're really helping out with the sim racing community. Now, time to take a look at the standings. Of course, Paris currently leading this championship. It's tight. It's tight. Paris, we have Valu there in second position. Shenzhou third. Of course, Shenzhou, the reigning Tier 1 champion. Ace in fourth. Micro in fifth. It's Ferrari, Red Bull, AlphaTauri, the top three in the constructors. And this is just going to be, well, it's a very tight championship. It's still very early, I would say, in this championship. And given how some of these races have gone, I think it's anyone's championship right now. With that being said, now we're just about ready to go racing.
Yeah, we're just getting those last few sort of backup invites up. But like you said, this, with how everything's been shaping up, you know, there's been a few bad races for everyone at the top of that standing. So you've got to anticipate that, like you said, it's still pretty early in this one. It's too early to call it, that's for sure. So we'll have to just give all the drivers those few extra weeks until we really start getting those clear contenders. You know, Paris, he's been so strong, but Valu's holding him very accountable to, you know, that second place spot right now. And I think either of those could easily walk away with this one. But, you know, you got the likes of Shenzhou, Ace Ritchie as well. He's been clawing points in week after week, so we can't count him out either. But yeah, that championship fight, very, very exciting, very, very alive here in Tier 1. And we're going to send out that ready up message in just a few moments once this lobby is locked down. But we do have everyone in, 20 drivers.
Full grid, that's right. And these drivers now just getting there. Looks like we might just be waiting on something. Yeah, I think we're getting the drivers readied up now, and we should be racing in just a few short moments.
Yeah, the message is out. Everyone should be readying up. Fingers crossed that they... I've read that. Everyone is getting... You can see it now. They're all counting down. The numbers starting to rock up with the green ticks appearing. Everyone suddenly getting that message in, and that 30-second will be there in a moment. And then qualifying, it's an interesting one around here, Striff. It's one similar to Spain. We saw that, where a lot of drivers, they don't want to start on these soft tires around here. The tire wear is just a bit too vigorous around this track for them to justify the decision to start on the softs. But I think there might be a few outliers today. I was speaking to Shenzhou before the race, and he seems to think that his medium pace isn't strong enough to carry that strategy out effectively. So despite the fact that it's most people's favorites, he's possibly going to be favoring the softs here in qualifying. We'll see where that AlphaTauri lands himself after this, but we are away. We are loading in, and 20 drivers are getting ready to go around the French Grand Prix circuit.
I'm very excited to jump into this one. Unfortunately, I do not believe our attempt to get everyone transcoding did work. I don't think it did, so that will be the only time we try to attempt it, unfortunately. So maybe next time we'll get it, but we do have the stream going at 1080p right now for everyone, so there's that. Now, as we jump in, we have 18 minutes of qualification here around Paul Ricard, and, well, this qualifying session for you and I this week has been a little bit of a relaxed session because it takes a bit to get going. A little bit of tire, well, strategy coming into play here in the qualifying. Of course, we're going to get that roll of the dice on the weather. We'll see what the race might bring us here, as we'll just wait for one of the driver engineers or someone of the likes to get into that chat with the forecast.
Yeah, but like you said, that these qualifying sessions, they do take a little moment to warm up for everyone. I think we might have, I'm not sure if we've got a little bit of desync as well in the lobby, possibly, but everyone just relaxing in the garage. They don't really need to come flying out as they usually would, you know, trying to get 3-4 good times in, constantly beating each other throughout the 18 minutes here, especially only for those on the medium strategy. If anyone does want to qualify on the softs, they get that little bit more run. But if you're going for that medium, there's a little bit more pressure on the drivers, I think, Striff, because they have to wait till those final 5 minutes. They have to wait, and then once you get there, you've got one shot, and that's it. And it's a pretty easy track to invalidate on. We've got a little bit wider track. There's not so many imposing walls as there is in Monaco, Baku, even Canada. So it's a pretty easy invalidation with these new sort of open areas with the nice big runoffs. Let's have a look who is coming out of that pit lane. It looks like Freeware. No, it's Ace. And it's Shenjay, sorry, the other Alpha Tauri is out of the garage first, and he is on the soft tires, as is everyone else so far.
Well, Shenjay, reigning Tier 1 champion at the minute, currently third in the championship this season round, and first driver coming through turn 6 on the outlap here. I imagine we'll see an invalidation once he does begin, unless he has a different strategy in mind. But of course, it's very early in the qualifying session. We have 18 minutes for these drivers, and we will get a little bit of desync as we are hosting this from a spectator POV as opposed to a driver hosting, just to avoid any issue.
Yeah, and I think Shenjay being that standing Tier 1 champion, you got Valu, Paris ahead of him right now, but Clustermine's back, Club Division. Shenjay got beaten to that title by ZZ9. Obviously, Alex Biddo was right there with them on that final race in Abu Dhabi, and it was a very exciting one. But ZZ9, Alex Biddo, they're down in 12th and 16th in this standings race, where Shenjay, he's managed to hold on to sort of that, one of those top spots. He's still in third place. It's not first. It's not where he finished last season. Finished first in Tier 1, like you said, second in Club, and he's still got a title fight in him yet, whereas the other two drivers he was fighting for in that Club division, not really in this one anymore, Striff.
That's right. That's right. And you're now coming through turn 2. Now through into turn 3. Very high speed circuit, I find, Paul Ricard, of course, as you come through 5 and 6, and then you jump into this super long straight into that 8-9 chicane.
And there's so many flat out corners here, or corners where you've got to get on the power as early as you can out of them. It is, like you say, really high speed. The overtakes down here, as we see Shenjay come into 8 and 9, the overtakes through there. You've got to be so daring, so late on the brakes, but you can't be too late on the brakes, as Shenjay, a little bit of slide coming out of the Alpha Tauri. But yeah, you've got to be just so brave through these corners because it is so high speed, but you need to use that speed to make those moves. So very sort of risk versus reward circuit as Shenjay comes through 11 down into 12. And again, these corners, they're so wide, but the line is not wide. You've got to take a very specific line. Shenjay, again, a little slide through there, low fuel, so I think this is going to be an official run for him, but well, I think he's just getting a gauge of the track. He's come in on these soft tires.
Interesting to see that from him. Take a look now. Like, Ace will be crossing the line now. What will the time be? It was a 27.299 on the soft compound tire, invalidated, so it will not stand on the timing tower, but we can get an idea of what he was running as Domi. We'll cross the line with the first official time of the session. It was a 128.970 as Alp Oskaya. Well, he has come through into that Renault seat, I do believe. Sitting in for, well, Fraser. As Fraser's out of the race tonight. And we have Alp Debelek, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I do believe he has now taken over duties at McLaren full-time in place of the former driver Dougie Falcons.
Yep, new full-time driver over there at McLaren, teaming up with Ace Ritchie, obviously. Currently 4th in the standings, of a nice strong start to the season for him as well. But yeah, new driver over there. You love to see these drivers step up to the plate when someone has to drop out for other commitments. And well, Alp here is the newest addition to the grid in that McLaren seat, and we'll have to see how he shapes up in his first full-time drive here around France. But he as well invalidating his lap.
Times on the tower starting to come through now. We have Milan on provisional pole position on the soft compound tire. It is quite the rapid time coming out of the Haas camp. It's a 27.4 unicorn value, a 28.087. He ran that on the softs as well. Yoda came through a 28.371. Domi, he had that 28.970. Alpaskaya there, 5th position, the 29 lat on the medium compound. Microlander 29.327 from the Red Bull with Brain Stew the Italian. It was a 30.5. No doubt that was an aborted run at the line. Freeware, he's just coming through on his in lap now. He had an aborted run. Sindako, everybody's just getting a gauge for track, going out for some warm-up runs. I think back to yesterday when we had, of course, the 2 Alfa Romeos. They just took the entire qualifying to go for a bit of a cruise.
Yeah, Crampy said it in the interview afterwards. It's just a great way to just get back into the swing of things, regardless of how much practice you've done leading into this race. You see the drivers, all you got to do is hop in the Discord, 30 minutes before a race, and everyone's on the track. They're hammering in as many laps as they can. Obviously, they've already practiced, or most of them will have already practiced the track, but everyone's just getting back into that rhythm of driving. You've got to have consistent lap after lap. Just pace around here. You can't let off. That's when, mistakes start to happen. And it's also where you start to drop out of DRS around a track that it's so important around. So coming in on good form is super, super important for these drivers. And, well, that's exactly why we see them go out for these invalidated soft runs, get a gauge of their pace, get a gauge of, how ready they are, and make sure everything's working smoothly. But right now, everyone invalidating mostly. There's a few times on the board. That 127.4 from Milan, that's a nice time from him, and obviously no one's close to it yet, but we'll have to see what happens at the end of this qualifying when mediums start to come out. We've got 10 minutes left and still only a few times on the board. Some people already switching to those medium tires as well. Domi, Yoda, Valu, all getting ready.
We were talking earlier, I brought up the Alfa Romeo. Brain Stew's just chaining the laps. Dason, he's out, and we'll have to see if he goes around and around, but he's got that low fuel light on, so maybe we won't see that after all. But Brain Stew seems to be just following suit with those tier 2 drivers.
Well, there's really not too much, problem with it. You're not going to use those tires again, and you may as well get the life out of them. If you're going to sit in the pit lane, it's better to just drive around a couple of laps on some soft tires. You may not even end up using them, especially if you're going for that medium hard strategy, which these drivers will be if they're on the soft tires, just putting lap in after lap. But yeah, there's really no harm in just chaining these laps, like you say, going for a little bit of a cruise, get yourself back in the groove of things, and make sure you go into that race as on form as possible. Like you said, Dason brings it back to the pit lane.
Look at the fitted tires right now. Tim on the mediums. He's coming out of turn 7, and he is barreling down the straight into the 8-9 chicane. We'll see if he is going to throw something down to really maybe set a standard here.
Well, he's about to get a nice tow from his teammate, and the Haas crew doing it very, very nicely. So you have to imagine that this is his flying lap a little early, but I wonder if they just want to get it in so they can time this toe just right, and they timed it pretty much perfectly as he comes through turn 11. Just needs to chain the rest of the lap together now to take advantage of that toe. It can be very helpful. You see it around these tracks with that huge back straight. This one obviously separated by the 8-9 chicane, but still the toe very, very useful to gain a little bit more time over the drivers aren't being part of that teamwork, as DRS is enabled for Tim down towards the line for the Haas driver. 128.9. Not a terrible time for him.
Solid run there at this phase of the qualifying. We are 8 minutes remaining, or 7.5. There is a little bit of a desync that we are aware of between us and the actual drivers on track right now. Paris is coming to the line. Let's see what he runs. It's 27.159 on the soft compound tire. Invalidated. Freeware. He's on the move in the AlphaTauri. He cuts turn 5 just to get a run through and not have to worry about setting it and running on these softs at the beginning of the race. And Shenjie, interestingly enough, has SH in his name, and I do believe that is an indicator that he might attempt a soft hard run here, which is quite daring.
Yeah, Yoda, he's at a little bit of a slipstream himself. He is on medium tires right now. He's already one of the fastest in the session. We haven't seen a time for him on these medium tires, though. Low fuel in the car. ERS deployed. Like I said, slipstream from his teammate in Brownie. I would not be surprised to see this as his lap as he comes through the penultimate corner. Now through into the final one. Let's see what he can do. ZZ9, he's just done a 128.5 on the softs. But it's Yoda to the line, and he's not improved. That it's a problem for him because he set that previous time on the softs.
Milan just improved to 26.963, and it looks like he is really, really wanting to sit on pole position here in this one.
Well, I'm curious what Yoda's going to do now that he's sort of botched this medium run. He might have to go back to the softs here, Jeff.
Richie, not Ace. We've got two Richies on the grid. Richie here for Mercedes today in a reserve capacity, I do believe, for Lil Blotel. And, well, we have Ace Richie as well over at McLaren. NJ.
Well, there goes NJ, yeah.
7626 coming out of the AlphaTauri. Solid run to get him into the front row, but Milan doing some heavy lifting right now, currently just shy of 0.7 ahead. That's wild.
That's a huge time difference.
Massive. Absolutely massive time difference.
I don't know what the action call of action here is from Shenjie. He has to sort of just try again, I guess, or at least he has to do something, because 0.7 off the pace. I know he said that he wasn't on the pace on the mediums, but 0.7 off on the softs compared to pole position. When you're going for this strategy, you can't really afford that. So we'll have to see what he does. There's a few drivers here maybe struggling a little bit in the qualifying as Yoda and Shenjie's teammate Freeware get nice and close in the pit entrance.
Well, Yoda and Brownie were sitting 5-6 until just a moment ago, until Domi came through into 5th. Brownie, 28.484. I do believe there might have been a tow going on from Yoda just before, as you mentioned, some exchanging in the pits.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Brownie try a medium run here. I don't think we've seen him do it yet. He towed Yoda down out of turn 9. We'll see if these guys reverse the roles and the Williams squad come back out together. We've got a few more drivers now. We've got Ace Ritchie out on an outlap. We've got Sindaku. We've got Bitter. We've got Vexit. Valu. All of these drivers now coming out on the medium tires. I believe that it will be Alex Bido first to the line to start his medium flying run.
Been a very shaky season for Mercedes. Of course, Bitto last season found himself driving for the Scuderia Ferrari team. Really trying to find his legs in the new team this season with Blotel.
Yeah, the two Spaniards, they haven't had the most ideal of starts to the season, but still plenty of time. We were speaking about it earlier. It may not be a championship push now. You know, Alex is over 100 points behind Paris in the standings, but it just takes a run of bad form from someone to really drop them down the standings. And Alex, still plenty of races to pick up where he left off with some incredible pace last season. There's obviously a few new drivers here and a lot of new pace on these grids in the MRL this season, but Alex right now, we'll see what he can do here around France. He hasn't set a timing yet. Didn't even bother to post one with the softs, just either invalidating them all or just sitting in the pit lane. Coming through into turn 11. And it's looking pretty clean and tidy now as he just steps on the power and just about holds that car to where it needs to be. Using the exit curbing out of turn 12 through 13. Now into the penultimate corner. Nice late apex from him into the hairpin at the end of the lap. And now just that drag race down to the line. DRS enabled, hugging the left-hand side of the track. And where is this going to put the Mercedes driver? He hops into P6 at 128.3. And that there is what I believe is the second fastest time we've had on the mediums. Domi being the only one faster than him.
Well, not by much. Quite the minor margin. Exit, however, showing a significant pace in this racing point. A 28.082, 5 milliseconds ahead of Valu's banker on softs. Meanwhile, Valu on the move coming through turn 4.
Yeah, I think he might have invalidated his first medium run here, Striff. I'm not quite sure what's happened to the Red Bull, but he's going again. He either invalidated it or he didn't beat his soft time. And that right there is a real problem for these drivers because you want to be on the mediums at the start of this race. Valley now, though, still very much pushing in this Red Bull as he charges down towards turn 10.
Now, the timing, 30 seconds remaining showing right now. However, we are aware of that desync, so we may see some of these drivers that are on these outlaps that you just might think might not make it. They will more than likely make it because I think there's about a minute difference.
Yeah, Valu now. He will, of course, make it. It is still valid, so he just needs to improve. Easier said than done. Let's see, what is it going to be for him? It's down to the line. It's not an improvement. He's missed it by half a tenth. And his best time is still on that soft compound tire. And it's slower than Vexit's as well. So he has a medium runner in front of him. This is not good news for him. Brain stew, I believe. He just hopped into 6th place on the mediums.
That's bad news. Bad news for the Red Bull.
Alex Bitto, he looks like he's gone around again for another push lap. And I think a lot of these drivers, that desync was present, and we can see now that a lot of these guys are now flying. Let's see if Domi catches the flag. He doesn't, so the timing still available to these drivers. I haven't seen the checkered flag for the session.
Ace calling it
ZZ9.
in the pit lane. ZZ9.
Paris, what a lap from him. A 128 flat on the medium tires. Just beats Vexit's time.
Well, these two, they did the dance for a time in Canada. We'll see if they do the dance again here in France. As well, who was that just crossed the line? It was
Tim.
It was Tim in the Haas.
Well, there goes Shenjie into pole position at 126.9. That's a bit more what we were expecting from him. He just beats Milan by exactly 100th of a second. He was 7/10ths down on the Haas driver, so Maybe he was playing mind games, Drift. Maybe he just wanted everyone to think that he was actually going to go for the mediums, and that SH in his name there is a little bit of a double bluff, but it is P1 for the AlphaTauri driver at the moment, and I don't think there's anyone who could take it from him.
Jason, he crosses a 28.374, 15th position for him. Who else is coming across to improve? Brownie will not be improving. Yoda on an in-lap presently, I do believe.
Domi. Oh, what a lap from Domi, a 127.2. It is on the soft tires, though. Still, third place.
Well, there are a lot of soft tires in this top 10. More than I expected, to be fair. The top 5.
Six. Value's on softs as well. He didn't improve.
Oh, that's correct. I missed that because he's grayed out right now. You're correct. 6. And I have to say, Value being behind medium runners is not going to be good for him.
And speaking of medium runners, Vexit, well, he got ahead of Paris there.
I didn't catch that.
Neither did I. I didn't see it. I didn't see him come across the line. He's been going for about a lap, but the racing point of Rutanius, he's just come across in chat and told us, but he's in P6 now. He is the fastest of the medium runners. He is, though, starting this race on 3-lap-old mediums. That might come to bite him here. We'll see how that track position helps him.
Well, finally the session. The checkered flag has been drawn on this qualifying, and well, what a lap from Vexit to take lead of the medium runners here, but there it is. The AlphaTauri Shenjie, the reigning Tier 1 champion, third in the standings, 126.953 to stand on pole position here for round 10. Milan in the Haas, well, 100th on the rear of the AlphaTauri, also qualifying on the softs. It was Domi, the Hungarian, in the Ferrari, who got the third slot. Richie and Tim, 4th and 5th respectively. And of course, we'll go down through the rest of this grid on the formation lap. I think this is going to be an extremely tight race. Extremely tight race. The gap right now in the qualifying, not super representative, but of course there's a ton of tire differential invalidations as well playing a role. Big shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. Check them out via the link in the chat, and of course the panels down below on their website for some amazing sim racing rigs and awesome gear. They're really helping out the sim racing community. Well, that is quite gloomy here in France, Unicorn, and well, we saw this already, haven't we?
Yeah, I was going to say, did anyone give us a weather report? Because this is looking rather cloudy, rather dark. And, well, I would not be surprised if we had a similar situation to what we saw yesterday. And we all saw the, results that provided, and the drama, the confusion amongst the drivers.
It was indicated dry in yesterday's campaign as well. Now we're being told dry for the forecast in this race. However, we had 2 safety cars in yesterday's race. Should we see a safety car? Maybe we see that dynamic come through once again. It really does make you think.
Yeah, what you don't want as one of these drivers is just that confusion. You saw the rain. We saw that it was dry, but it was dry in terms of the tire compounds. You didn't want to be using the intermediates. They were so much slower, but the drivers are failing to realize that a free pit stop under the safety car isn't always a free pit stop, but we do have a huge tire difference.
Well, the entirety of the back 10, 11 through 20 on these hard compound tires, as we said earlier, 6 drivers qualifying here in France on the softs, and it will be 4 drivers starting this race on mediums. Vexit with a little bit more wear potentially on his set than the rest of these drivers, given he did 3 laps on them in the qualifying.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where these medium runners land. There's only 4 of them, and we're seeing the mediums as the minority tire on the grid. It isn't always what you see around here in France. That provides something very interesting. Value as well, stuck in 8th place. That's not where he wants to be, because what you want to do if you're on the soft compound tires is run away at the start of this one and then try and just use that get into the pits as quickly as possible, onto the hard tires, and undercut the guys on the mediums. Valu is going to struggle to do that with Paris and Vexit ahead, especially given the pace we just saw out of Paris and Vexit to put themselves in those positions. Those laps on the mediums were ridiculously fast, and Valu, Paris, torn between P1 and P2 in the standings. Paris doesn't want to make Valu's job any easier there, and he'll be defending very, very hard to keep that Red Bull behind him.
Everywhere looking like Kimi Räikkönen coming into turn 10 there. Just straight, no tire warming from him at all. He's just caught up to the rear of the grid. I think I might have... I don't know if he had an issue, but he's 17th on this timing tower, but he was at the back of this formation.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but everyone else getting loaded onto this grid. As we just wait for the last few to take their positions at the back.
All right. Everybody getting lined up now. Alp in the McLaren making his debut. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights on here now in Paul Ricard. A little bit of desync, but we are away racing here in France. Shenjay, Milan, Domi. It's nearly 3 wide coming into turn 1 already. Richie on the rear of this as we come through. Who is going to be the winner of this exchange? Nothing too much going on just yet. There isn't too much happening. It's so clean here so far. Wheel to wheel exchanging all the way down into turn 3 by a majority of this grid. Tim, Valu, wheel to wheel right now. Valu making up a ton of positions. There's a little bit of a tap. Valu having to recover. But Valu, well, he's done what he needed to do, Unicorn. He's pushed out of the medium runners.
Well, not only that, but he put Paris and Vexit side by side with that little slide there he got. And now Vexit, Paris, they had to fight, and Vexit's ahead of Paris.
Biddo's on the inside into the 8-9 chicane. Paris holding 8th position for now. This is going to really bring ZZ9 and Microlander together as their wheel-to-wheel coming out of this turn. And this is the opening lap of this race. As far as the eye can tell, no debris on circuit, and this is just tight racing all the way through. Coming down through into turn 11 now, majority of the grid. Microlander just... Oh, Microlander on the inside gets ZZ9. ZZ9 looking for a move back as we come through turn 12. Tight, 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 tight. What an opening lap we're seeing here in France.
Yeah, behind them as well. A little bit of a battling unfolding there. You've got Ace Richie on the inside of Brain Stew, not finding anything there as the times come through. We'll see what Valu could do. He's behind him, but we'll see if he can catch up. He had a brilliant start. He needs to capitalize now and start getting past some of his rivals on these soft compound tires. He made it past Vexit. He made it past Paris, though. That is what he really, really needed to do.
Well, look at this grid.
What a poor start for him.
Well, look at the timing tower. You make a mistake on this grid, you blink. Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is going to be, when DRS gets enabled, which it will do next lap. And
Sanjay peeking at Milan into 8-9. He thinks better of it as down further we have Brain Stew edging ahead of ZZ9. He's going to get that move done.
Yeah, the hard tires already starting to sort of rein some of these medium runners in. ZZ9, the first to fall.
Valu around the outside of Tim right now as we come through into turn 11. Valu still looking for it. Tim trying to hold on to that inside. Valu has made it into 5th position.
There's some big moves coming out of him, but the problem is now DRS is about to get enabled, and Richie in P4 has dropped off of the window. He's 1.3, 1.4 seconds behind Shenjay, and that's going to cost them when that DRS gets enabled. Valu now needs to dispatch this Mercedes nice and quickly. I don't think he's got the gap, though, down into turn 1. He can try, but I think it will be unsuccessful. Yeah, he's too far back to do a thing.
Yeah, this train really coming into force now. DRS has been enabled, and we'll see it start to play a role most significantly in that difference between positions 3 and 4 here. Richie really needs to push to try and catch that DRS, or he is really going to get caught by, well, potentially Valu. Tim dancing in and around out of that DRS range of Valu as well. And this is not good for any of the medium runners who are behind him.
There goes Valu on the Mercedes, and DRS, you said it just there yourself, Strift, that's so powerful, and it's just slotted Valu ahead. Vexit, he's got past Tim, and the mediums now already starting to work for Vexit. Tim, he's not had the best opening lap either.
Richie's had a big issue coming out of turn 9. Richie's just dropped into 7th position here, and I'm not entirely sure what's happened. There's no debris on that car. He might have had a snap or something.
Yeah, no damage, but like you said, some sort of loss of the rear is just going to cost him that exit time. Meanwhile, the front 3, Shenjie very close to the rear of Milan. Dason's got past Alposkaya at the back of this grid, but Shenjie so close to the rear. This has Paris. Richie's dropping again. He's still got no damage. He's just dropping like a stone.
Paris, Bido, 7 and 8 position right now on this grid. Tim, the soft runner between them. Oh, Milan leading that Ferrari into turn 1.
What an overtake. Really nicely done from him. Domi just doesn't seem to have the pace right there through turn 1. And Shenjie, can he capitalize on this one as well if he can get it out of turn 7? Microlander, Richie, they're exchanging. Richie again still falling through this grid.
There has definitely been an issue here. Definitely an issue for this Mercedes. I'm not entirely sure what it is. If he spun, if he had some kind of cook of the rears, if he's trying to nurse temperatures right now. But he has dropped like a stone. And speaking of dropping, well, Shenjie's going for Domi into 8-9. Meanwhile, Paris is on Tim, but we're going to watch Shenjie for P2 right now. Wheel to wheel. Domi holding on with everything he's got. Paris is going to lead Tim through 8-9 right now. Bido getting a little bit shaky on the rear. He wants to get the Haas also because Tim's on these softs. And look at the exit coming out of Bido here. He is on a supercharged run into turn 10. He's going around the outside this Mercedes, and look at the speed. But Tim, he's having none of it. He wants to hold that inside, and it is a very strong hold through here on the inside of turn 11. Bido still around the outside, and the Mercedes is going to get the move done for now.
Yeah, Bitter there almost got caught out because he was going so fast. He found the rear of Paris, and he had to slow down a little bit to avoid rear-ending that Ferrari. Also worth noting that Domi and Shenjie, whilst Domi has held the position on the straight, they actually banged wheels. Neither of them, losing anything as a result of it, but it almost ended poorly for the pair of them, but they're still up in that top. But more importantly, they lost time to Valu. Valu now in DRS range of Shenjie, and that Red Bull will not be looking to slow down now and give them an opportunity to run away again.
This grid is still so tight. It is so tight all the way from first down to 20th in all reality. We take a look at the gap right now. It is 12 seconds from first to 20th position. And that tells me that when the pits start coming through, it's really going to shake up this race. Microlander now looking at Tim. These softs, they're starting to really hurt, I think, when you come down these long straights. Microlander with a ton of pace. He's going to get that move easily done through the 8-9 chicane. And Tim with a good exit, maybe wanting to hold with him as tight as he can, maybe continue to apply that pressure. But I think it's clear that these tires now, they are starting to degrade and betray these drivers.
Yeah, not too long until you have to get off of these soft. Brain stew now on the inside, of Tim, the Haas driver. Around these fast flowing corners, you can't afford to have, tires with no grip, and Tim is finding that the hard way. We've seen Richie drop. We've now seen Tim find him at the bottom of the points. 10th and 11th for the pair of them. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them come in at the end of this one. Valu on the rear of Shenjie.
Slight tap from Richie there on the rear of Tim, and this has really opened it up for ZZ9, and Ace is on the rear of the Mercedes as well. ZZ9 gets 11th position. Here goes Ace into turn 1. He is going to go through ahead of Richie. Oh, look at this battle we're seeing come out of turn 2. It's Ace Richie versus Richie. The battle of the two Richies, but it looks like Ace is going to hold it through into 12th now.
Yeah, P12, third in terms of the hard runners, and he's on a nice little charge here and a really nice position in that McLaren. And ZZ9 ahead. He's been struggling a little bit. Tim as well. We got Richie getting overtaken by Dason now. The Alfa Romeo up into 13. ZZ9 and Tim, they've exchanged. Tim losing yet another position to someone on the harder compounds. Valu's on the rear of Shenche, and he's looking for it on the inside of 10. Can the Red Bull find it on the AlphaTauri? He can. Shenche, no answer from him. And Valu, well, from a poor qualifying, is looking to make the best of a bad situation, is up into P3. He started this race in 8th, and it's been very, very impressive drive from him so far.
Well, Dason, Ace, 5-lap-old hards for the both of them. They have Tim ahead of them right now. Ace, here he goes. Looking for the inside into 14 here. Is he going to hold this? What a move coming out of Ace, and I can definitely see the traction differential coming through now. Dason is up next. Tim's going to have DRS on the rear of Ace as we make our way into turn 1, and the pit stops have started. Domi opting to stay out, as it was Milan, Valu, Shenje all into the pit lane. Milan onto a set of soft compound tires here, Unicorn.
I don't know if that's a mistake or if he's going to try something bold, soft medium maybe for the Haas driver, but I'll tell you what was a mistake. Valu sped into the pit lane, and all of his hard work on these opening few laps has just gone completely to waste because he's got 5 seconds to apply to the end of his race or the next pit stop.
Alp on the inside of Richie coming through turn 6 into turn 7. Dason and Tim now fighting, and what an exchange of racing we saw there. Oh my, this race has really been providing a lot of intensity. Dason getting into 9th position now. He's on the hards. He needs to catch up with Ace. The fighting with Tim cost him a second and a half.
Sandaku nearly...
Oh! Freeware's into the wall. He's out of this race. The safety car has been deployed, and it was 3 wide. Freeware on the outside just got caught there, and that is not what you want to see. That is not...
Domi.
Oh my, Domi is net. Is Domi gonna get into the pit lane here? Domi.
He was gonna come in anyway. He was gonna come in anyway, and now he's got a free pit stop.
The Ferraris. Oh my, this race has just been flipped on its head.
Paris is going to lose the position to Bitto here. No doubt about that. CC9's in. Some of these hard runners are in as well. I don't know, 20 laps on the mediums. That's going to be a tough one. That's for sure. Let's see where Paris comes out in all this. He's getting into the pit box now. Matthias only now going onto that car. He's lost the position to Bitto. Who else is he going to lose out to here?
What a race this has been. This is such a development. We're on lap 8. We're on lap 8, man, and this is just now getting going. And we've got Microlander, Dason, Alp, Brownie, Sindako, all on these 7-lap-old hards, and this is such a big wrench in strategy for these guys. I don't know how it's going to play out for them, but of course, this is France. Safety car probability is not that high, but I will go ahead and say, I mean, safety cars do present opportunity for more safety cars, so they might be okay. Because this is a DRS train circuit when you look at sector. Oh, this is just... What a race. What a cracking race this has been, and what it's really kind of developed into here at Unicorn.
Yeah, I'm looking now. The tires, you got the top 5 starting hard. You got Michelana, Dason, Alp, Oskaya, Brownie, and Sindaku there. Then we have Domi, who started on the softs. He's currently net P1 on those fresh hards. Vexit behind him. And Paris, he's dropped all the way down to 14th. Vexit's in 7th. They were side by side now. The Racing Point has a huge advantage because of the Ferrari double stack. Obviously, Paris had to take advantage of this situation, but really left him out of this. Valu, 5-second penalty for him in the Red Bull in 9th. That's going to cost him Milan. Interesting to see where he lands on these soft tires. He should have pace, but only till about lap 14 or so, at which point he'll have to come in for some mediums. So we'll see what he can achieve. But Shenje, he got back past most of these drivers as well, only failing to get past Domi and Vexit, who came into the pits. So he's not looking too bad either in 10th place. So a lot of options for these guys, a lot of people available for the podium. But Domi and Vexit definitely the strongest contenders right now.
Tell you something, it could be worse. The safety car could have been coming out when it started to rain, and half the grid could have gone on to Inter's Unicorn.
That's true, and it would, really be a play of strategy as to whether, you made the right call. But dry for the time being. It's also getting a little bit clearer here, Striff, so I don't think we are going to see that dynamic. But yeah, it would be crazy if we saw half the grid go to intermediate tires at the wrong time.
I think a couple of the drivers in the chat calling it too soon with that one, perhaps. Too soon with that one. All in good fun.
I'm just gonna wait for it to come in now because, well, we've definitely unsettled a few people, Strip. But
Yeah.
The top 5, let's see if they can stay settled. 8 lap old hards compared to 1 lap old hards. It's a tough one. I'm really interested by Milan.
What's going through your head? What's going through your head as a hard runner right now? You see Milan on your on your timing tower. You see Milan right now. What is going through your head? And I have to say, what is going through your head right now as a driver who has stayed out here? 5 drivers opting to stay out on these hards. They still have to come in. It's such a unique it's unique. It's something that I can't say I would have. You can't script these moments, Unicorn. You can't script these moments. Safety car, it's coming in.
That soft tire, it is unique, like you said. But if we see another safety car, then it will work out, depending on when that safety car comes out. But also, those 8 lap old hards at the front, they're not going to be particularly fast. They won't have lost too much pace yet, but compared to Milan's fresh shots, which have been preserved a little bit, he's going to have an extra lap or 2 in those compared to what he did. So
he's going to be a rocket ship for a few laps.
Absolutely, he will. Well, he needs to be a rocket ship. Whether he is or not is
yeah.
up
He's
to
got
him,
limited
he
options. He needs
far.
to be a rocket ship to get ahead of this grid to try and do some quick work. But Microlander now out of turn 15 is hammering down. Has Dason been able to get a good read on this? It does look like he has. Alp Askaya has been absolutely hung out to dry for this grid. Brownie, I think a little bit of a weave there. Not too thrilled about it.
No, I wouldn't be either. The DRS is so important here, and the reserve in the Renault car right now completely dropped out of that DRS range instantly on this first few corners. He needs to claw his way back in. Milan now, let's see what he can do. He's all over the rear of Vexit. The soft tires are about to light up. Domi on the rear of Sindaku. He's looking pretty lively as well. The Racing Point's under a lot of pressure right now. Pressure that they really don't want. But here goes Milan, the first of the moves. And he needed to be a rocket ship, and he is down this long back straight into turn number 8. And wow, what a move. He's already up into P7. Can he get Domi here as well? He needs to just make these moves as quickly as possible.
The exit
His biggest problem is going to be that gap between Dason and Alp, because he's going to get caught in a little bit of a block.
Well, he's the fastest in the race so far through Sector 2, of course. And now Domi on, well, the rear of Sindako through turn 11. Milan having a look. It looks like Tim and Ace have just exchanged as Ace is now into 15th position. Milan still tight to the rear of these drivers ahead. Brownie really tight to Alpaskaya. Look at the gap. Look at the gap between Alp and Dason. It is nearly 2 seconds. Sindako, Domi. Here goes Milan. Oh! Domi just had his lunch stolen.
Well, it was a brilliant move from Milan, because Domi tried to go around the outside of Sindaku. Brownie's got the Renault down into turn 1, but Domi tried to go around the outside because Sindaku didn't get the fastest line through 14. Domi tried around the outside, and Milan stuck up the inside. And speaking of sneaking up the inside, here he goes for the racing. Very late on the brakes. He's perfected that one. What a move. Milan is on a serious charge right now. Domi's getting passed by Vexit. Vexit's had to correct himself, get back in line, and he's lost a lot of time on the rear of that Ferrari.
These drivers are so tightly wound in this grid right now. Look at Milan. The rocket is in action once again. The turbo, if you will, is the soft compound tires really giving him a ton of opportunities here in France right now. The softs, 4 laps old. He's hunting down that 6/10 gap to Brownie ahead. Brownie, nearly 2 seconds on the rear of Dason, but I can't say it's his fault. There was definitely an issue with that Renault. Alp now, under threat from Sindako, coming through turn 10, a switch to the inside. As we go through 11, is he going to try and get something done here? Tight racing here from everybody involved. Unicorn, ZZ9, and Paris are now exchanging through 11 as well.
Yeah, nice move from the Ferrari. He was under a little bit of pressure from Ace Ritchie, but he's transferred that straight to going up the inside on the Renault Brain Stew. He's looking nice and tight as Domi Sindaku exchanging. Domi up into P6, putting the teammate ahead of Vexit, and we'll have to see. Yeah, there you go. The racing points are going to make that nice and easy for each other. Down into turn 1, Vexit into P7, so we can go and battle with Domi for what will be a potential race win for either of them. Milan, well, he's picked off another one. The Williams of Brownie falls to the soft rocket that is that Haas driver right now. He's up into P3, 2 seconds behind Dason. Can he close that gap? ZZ9, he's having another fight. This time it's with Yoda on the inside. The Williams ahead of them. Paris is looking for another move. This time it's with Bitto.
Oh, man.
Coming into fruition. Brains to get Sindaku.
We need 16 other cameras, please. Thank you. Oh my God, the racing we are seeing here in France right now. The overtaking is in full force in Tier 1 today.
Well, there was just 5 on that straight alone. Domi past Alp, I think Vexit and, Valu and Shenjie. There's so many moves going on right now. I can't keep track of them all. Vexit, Alp, they've exchanged P6 for the racing point, following Domi through the other racing point. He's lost out to Bitto, who's looking at Shenjie up the inside. The Mercedes on the Alpha Tauri. He's trying to put as many cars between himself and Paris as possible. Shenjie's having none of it, though. And fighting off the Spaniard with everything he's got.
Sindako.
He's struggling big time. He was in like
Ace,
what, P5?
Ace is on an absolute charge on these 4-lap-old mediums right now. I have to say, this has been quite the race, especially this restart now. Milan within 1 second now of Dason. And I have to say, he's provided a good opportunity for Brownie to kind of catch himself up just a little bit to these guys ahead after Alp at that restart, dropping off a bit on the rear of the front too.
Yeah, someone I want to see who lands in all of this. Brain Stew on the medium tires right now. 5 laps old compared to 12 laps on Alp ahead of him. And, well, I think it's going to be pretty cut and dry for him as he comes down. DRS enabled for both drivers. The Renault squeezing him to the inside, but not anything that Brain Stew's going to worry about as the Alfa Romeo breezes past. Brownie picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's sliding a little bit. Domi too far back to make any capitalization on that one. Milan has caught Dason. He has caught Microlander. And this Haas, well, he's brought himself into this because these guys, they're going to have to pit for mediums as well by the end of this race. So, well, they could go for softs technically at the end. But, oh, Milan, a nice little slide from him, catches it. But almost costing himself there. But he has caught these guys. He is going to go for a move, presumably down into turn 1, unless he can get one before around the outside of 14, maybe.
Oh!
That is not what he wanted to do. Patience is a virtue. And Milan has found that out the hard way. He's thrown all of it away as he has to wait for everyone else on this grid to come steaming past.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Any mistakes, if you blink, you're going to the back of the bus. And Milan on these soft compound tires, he was doing so much heavy lifting. And look at where he's landed himself now. And look at the softs. They're now ticking 7 laps old. 3 seconds the gap to Richie and the Mercedes ahead. And I have to say, it has all come tumbling down now for one of these drivers in the Haas car. Tim, 6-lap old hard, 16th position. Well, we'll just have to see where he's able to land himself currently out of the points.
Yeah, not good at all. That is, you know, pretty much race over for the Haas driver. He can't really find a win there. But speaking of, wins a P1. Or Dason had a look into turn 8. Not going to take anything from it, though.
Shenjie and Valu.
Behind Microlander.
Such a tight exchange here between Valu. There's been contact, and I'm not entirely sure how it's happened, but Valu's around.
Valu, P2 in the standings. Now P19 in this race. No damage on that Red Bull, and he can go to the end on those tires, but I'm not sure He's going to want to. Depends how much they've heated here. Shenji now. Oh, sorry, it's Bito on the rear of the AlphaTauri. The time into juggling times, but no exchanges so far between 7th and 9th. Oh, very, very closely knit. Bito, a big slide. Does that open the door for Ace Richie behind him in the McLaren? Dason's into the pits. He's getting off of those hard tires. He's going to go for mediums to the end here. Ace Richie, a little bit of a wobble trying to get past Bito. Paris looking around the outside, not going to find it. Has he got the exit, though? The Ferrari looking a lot stronger onto the start-finish straight. But the DRS just saving Richie there.
Lap 15 of 27, ladies and gentlemen, and I can tell you the action has not stopped in this race. It has been absolute intensity from lap 1 to present time, even with the safety car. What a race this has been, George.
It's been absolutely incredible so far, but still, we're only just over halfway through. These guys have got a lot of racing yet to go. Domi now, the hard tires, or the fresher hard tires, starting to come alive. Brownie, well, there he goes. Domi picks off the Williams, and Vexit's going to go for it as well. He's really trying to follow his rival here through, but the Williams and Brownie really putting up a good fight. Side by side, Brain Stew's on the rear of all this on the mediums. Can he find a way past Brownie as well? They're side by side, going into turn 10. Vexit's through. Brownie on the inside line. I don't think he's got anything to defend from here. On the inside, they're banging wheels. He's just still there on the inside line. The hard tires struggling for pace, but he's trying to find something here to defend against Brain Stew. It seems fruitless right now. Up the inside goes the Alfa Romeo. Brownie made it as hard as he could, but it's not going to stop these guys coming through. And that 3-second time penalty, it's going to come to eat him. He's not coming into the pit lane, though. Maybe going for Sots at the end, but Microlander is. And Domi, Vexen, and Brainstew are now the provisional podium sitters.
Paris has just taken a position on Alp now. Domi in lead of this race. Vexit in very good position here. No penalties. Brainstew on the rear of him on the medium compound tires. This has been such a race. And I have to say, we do not get to see intensity in action around Paul Ricard like this too often. Let us know in the chat, of course, if you're enjoying it. And massive, massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing, because this race, well, it's been up there. It's definitely a next level campaign. Yoda right now is into 10th position, hunting down Alp. Less than half a second the gap as Domi and Vexit exchange for lead of things. It's the Racing Point flying ahead of the Ferrari. No penalties on him, and, well, we saw him with a very good performance, of course, in Canada. It didn't go the way he wanted it to, but we'll see what he's able to do here for round 10.
Domi's still carrying a lot of speed through 10 into 11. Not going to get him past. He's also got a penalty to his name for that Ferrari. You can't count him out just yet from this one. He's very much still here, still in with a shot of winning it. It's going to be a lot harder than it is for Vexit, who's still penalty-free. Penalties are starting to come through this grid. We've got 8 drivers so far with that black and white flag next to their name, indicating at least some level of penalty. It's a little bit different for some compared to others. Mostly 3 seconds of 6 seconds, though, for Alp. Everyone else 3 seconds for those in the chat who might be race engineering or something. But Milan, he's getting off of those softs. It was a long, hard-fought push for him. That spins cost him, but the Haas driver is into the pit lane.
This has been such an exciting race. So much position changing, so much intense wheel-to-wheel action on grid, on track. Trying to get a real sense of where everybody is right now. I'll tell you right now, Brainstew, Domi still holding so well with this race leader Vexit right now. Brainstew with the DRS and the... Oh, wow. Domi defending with everything he's got. There's been an issue. No damage there, Domi. I don't know if he knew Brainstew was there.
Brainstew, not only that, but he tapped the rear of Vexit. Had to go a little bit off the track to get himself recentered. He might have picked up a little bit of scuff front wing, but it's still fine. Vexit, Domi side by side now coming into turn 11. The Racing Point's not giving up. He's not giving the lead away that easily. They're still side by side up the inside. The Racing Point still ahead now. Covers the inside from the Ferrari. Domi might try and look for a switchback, but it's not really likely through turn 12. And Vexit, a very nice defense. Brainstew will not be happy with Domi, and Domi needs to be careful. He's already got 3 seconds of time penalties to his name. He doesn't want to add to that post race.
Unreal race we're seeing unfold here, especially in the front of this. And well, the more fighting we see in the front end of this grid, that means that everybody's going to be following along. Everybody's going to be in this train. Domi's still within 2/10 as you come into the first turn. And this is the lovely intensity you love to, well, you want to see in Tier 1.
Yeah, I was just about to mention this train being brought back in. Shenjay and Bito, real dangers for particularly Domi with that 3-second time penalty. I would not be surprised to see Shenjay and Bito within that gap. I think they actually might be right now, but when Brownie pits, they need to make sure that they're still there and they're still within 1 second and they can slingshot through with DRS into the DRS on Brainstew. Don't know whether he can take those mediums to the end, Striff, but he's going to try, I think, unless he has to go for some slots. A late safety car would save him absolutely massively, but he should be able to take those mediums to the end, but not with the fighting that he's experiencing right now.
Domi just keeping Vexit under pressure right now, and Brainstew holding well on those mediums. He doesn't have to do anything too drastic. Brownie behind him. 17-lap-old hards is a little bit of a buffer between Shenjay and the rest of this grid.
Yeah, I want to see Shenjay, though. He might go for a move here. I don't think he needs a good run here out of 15 if he wants to run into turn 1. But other than that, he might have to wait until turn 8. He's got DRS. He's got a nice exit on Brownie. Not using any ERS, though. Brownie's got more in the tank than him. As I look up the inside, makes Brownie aware that he is behind, filling those rearview mirrors of the Williams. Brownie's got the penalty, needs to come into the pit lane because he hasn't done so yet, and he's still running in 4th. So a nice drive from him. Might even be slots to the end for Brownie in a few laps' time. Interesting strategy, but we saw Milan fly.
Well, here's the thing.
No reason why we can't see Brownie do the same.
Well, the entirety of this grid is bunched together. A driver of Brownie's caliber, if he goes onto the soft compound tires to the end here and comes out ahead of, well, I think Dason, he's okay. He might be able to cut through this grid. We'll have to see how it plays out, but we're on lap 19. We'll have to see when he comes in. As you said, he's in 4th position, but Shenjay out of turn 9 here, getting quite close.
I think there would be too many cars. This grid's too close for Brownie. That's the problem here. I don't think he would come out ahead of Dason. I think he'd be slightly further than that. I think ahead of Microlander. Ahead of Sindaku, sorry. 8.6 second gap there between the Racing Point and the Red Bull. And even then, it's a tough ask. But Brownie, Brainstew's had an issue. He's had a huge snap, and Brownie going to take instant action on this. Shenjay around the outside of 14 things. They took a brief moment to sleep. Brownie's into the pit lane after that one. Shenjay now up the inside. I imagine it's going to be mediums to the end for Brownie, but Shenjay needs an exit here on Brainstew. The mediums still providing all the traction that Brainstew needs. It's going to be around the outside for Shenjay, though. Into turn 1, he's pretty much out of battery into the corner, but he is ahead. He is into P3, and that is exactly what he needed. He just needs to try and get it to Domi's DRS range now. Bito, he needs to follow through quickly as well. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to stay with Shenjay till the end of this one.
Bito, Ace, Paris. That train is in good formation here. Yoda right now in 8th position on 12-lap-old mediums. Let's see where Brownie, he has come out just behind, well, he's come out right behind Sindako, which is where we had assumed now he would come out near Sindako, maybe ahead of him. But look at the gap. Pretty well successful. Brainstew, Shenjay, 389, still fighting. Brainstew holding on with everything he's got. Tim, ZZ9 exchange. ZZ9 into 10th position.
Yeah, Brownie on those mediums. He's going to pick off Sindaku now, but
Domi looking very, very close. Shenjay, Bito, we know these rivals like to fight, and here goes Bito on the inside of turn 11. Shenjay using everything he's got to power out on the inside now as you come through turn 12. Bito with a really, really good hold on the outside, but the traction for Shenjay right now is really good in the fighting. Look at the fighting. It's causing them to lose time. Brainstew is into the pit lane. Vexit. Well, let's see where he's going to land with Domi now. As the timing tower.
Ace Richie there, side by side down the start finish straight. The McLaren on the inside down into turn 1, both burning ERS. Paris late on the brakes. Shenjay, Bito, sorry. Oh my goodness, there's a tap. Ace Richie sliding through the corner. both managing to keep that car pointing in the right direction. Very, very impressive driving from the pair of them. Paris knew he had to sort of just hold his line, make it very clear where he was going. So Ace Ritchie knew he had the space to recover the car, but he does still make the move. But I wouldn't think that Ace Ritchie's going to be too happy in the way that Paris did get that car past.
Well, that's tier 1, I guess. We've seen so much aggression, so much risk-taking, opportunity seeking through these races. And I mean, I guess in a certain circuit like France, all these drivers just got to do everything they can. Of course, stewards can review post-race. Bido, well, Shenjay 1.3 on the rear of Domi and Vexit. Bido wanting to get himself into a solid position here ahead of this AlphaTauri.
Well, I was saying at the start of this race how Shenjay's been, beating his last season's championship rivals in Vito and ZZ9, and well, Vito might have heard that one because he's really bringing the fight to Shenjay today around France. He's really found some sort of form that he hasn't really been showing in the earlier races of this season, but now on for a potential podium here. The Mercedes driver hunting down the AlphaTauri. DRS really reeling in Shenjay right now. They just need to work together though to bring themselves into the DRS of Domi so that they can make sure that they stay within 3 seconds of that Ferrari driver when the checkered flag gets waved in 5.5 laps time.
Well, one thing right now for Domi is that 3-second time penalty really gonna hurt him. Brownie, that's the fastest lap of the race. He's on the medium compound tires as well. 7.3 seconds the gap to Microlander. 6-lap-old mediums. Dason, 7-lap-old mediums ahead of him, and they are catching up with Valu.
Yeah, Shenjay and Bito are closing in on the leaders. Paris, he's just behind them too. That Ferrari not out of this one yet. Same tires, same strategy. And well, he's proved this pace in this grid ever since he joined. He's won 5 races. And well, that makes him a very, very hard person to contend with. But there's 4 drivers ahead of him now. And one is his teammate. So Domi is told by his team he might get told to hold these guys up so that Paris can start making the move, but he wants the win. He's got 3 seconds to his name though. What does the Ferrari pit wall want him to do? DRS is enabled for all of these drivers now. Shenjay has put in the work. He has dragged himself, Alex and Paris into the DRS train of Vexit and Domi up at the front. And that makes this 5 drivers in 5 laps, all going for the podium positions. Vexit currently in the top spot and has been looking strong all race long.
Rain Stew, the fastest lap. We saw him pass Brownie a few moments ago on the soft compound tires.
Yeah, and it's a strategy I'm surprised we didn't see Brownie opt for. But even then, I think that 5.9 second gap is going to be too much to climb to get into the points. The safety car here proving too valuable. Valu, he's up into the points ahead of Ritchie, the Red Bull, into 10th place. Got Tim in his sights next, and well, similar tires there, but Tim's still penalty free. Nice, clean and tidy race from him. Very consistent driver. But he has been overtaken here by the Red Bull, who's on a real charge right now. A last-minute dash of pace to try and claw some points back for the runner-up in the standings as it is right now. Especially with Shenjay. Shenjay in P3 right now. Valu in P9. That's going to close that gap nicely in the standings. Ace Ritchie. Well, I was going to say in 5th, but it's Yoda. Ace Ritchie's in the pits.
What the heck just happened there? Where was he when he went into the pit lane?
His puncture. Rear left's gone.
The mediums.
The rear left on that car's gone.
The mediums. Maybe they went and maybe he had to try and get around. I don't know if they. I don't know. What a development for the McLaren.
Apparently it was only 67%, but if I was Yoda, that send a shiver up my spine. 16 laps on those mediums. He's still got a few
Well,
laps to go.
Yeah, he's got to really nurse these tires. If he just blew a tire, Yoda's in trouble here.
I was not expecting that. I was just about to say that Ace Richie was, in a nice place to close the gap down a little bit to Valu as well as Shenjie, but well, now he's completely out of the points after that one. Richie, Tim, they've exchanged the two hard runners. The Mercedes on the inside looking for it. Tim defending valiantly around the outside. A little bit of tap between the two, but nothing bad to write home about. But my goodness, what an unfortunate series of events for Ace there. Brainstew picks up 3 seconds of time penalties. That's going to cost him at the end of this one. He's already outside of the points, but those softs, they are dragging him in, just not quickly enough, I don't think.
Domi keeping with Vexit so well in this race. I think just wanting to do everything he can to hold on to what he's got. He knows he has that 3 seconds. Bido, Paris, close proximity in this train, and there's been a disconnection. Unfortunately, it looks like Richie has had a disconnection in that Mercedes. Dason is going to look to try and inherit a position on that now AI-controlled car. Microlander as well, and that's just the last thing you want to happen in a race where you are sitting in the final points position of your reserve drive.
Yeah, absolutely. ZZ9, he's got past Yoda here.
Well,
The medium's really proving poor right now. Dason on 10-lap hold mediums, though. He's got past Tim into P9.
this is really, really risky for Yoda. I think everybody wondering now what happened to really cause a puncture for that McLaren. Yoda now on lap 25, about to cross into the penultimate lap of this race. Currently in 7th position, at risk of puncture based on the McLaren. So this is crucial for his race, Yoda. Absolutely crucial. And I do believe now we have had the rejoin of Richie into the session, the timing tower disappearing, but fortunately just before the lap began, so we will have lap timings for the penultimate lap.
Yeah, timing's coming back now. Shenjie 3/10 behind Domi. He might even be looking for the move here. He's pulled out a bit of a gap to Bito. That could cost the Spaniard to Paris behind.
Ace coming through on the soft compound tires, fastest lap of the campaign, ensuring that it does not land in the top 10 of this grid.
On the podium at the moment, Vexit, Shenjie, Bito. Paris is going to want to change that though. Domi, not a lot he can do to ensure that he stays on it. He's in P2 right now with about 3 seconds. Going to cost him big time unless anyone else picks them up on this. Last lap. They've got 1 lap, 1 sector to go. Shenjie all over the rear of that Ferrari, not finding a way through though. And interesting enough, Striff, the driver with the most ERS in his top 5 is Vexit. He's just been really controlling this race from the front, and it's a very impressive drive from him.
There it goes. The front right on the Williams is out. Oh, that is brutal. That is going to be a tough one. That is tough. That is so tough for the Williams squad here. The front
Yoda's
right.
on for good points.
Yeah, he was. He was having a stellar drive. That is so unfortunate for Yoda. Leading into the final lap of this race, front right puncture. Gives you Russell vibes.
Yeah, Yoda's just someone whose season just hasn't gone his way at all. He is a driver of such quality, yet so far down the standings, and well, just saw it there. On for brilliant points, a puncture, ending the race on the last lap, and it's just so gutting to see him, And a race ended like that. Vexit now pulling away Domi. He's got Shenjie on his rear. Alex Bito's looking to try and get past The AlphaTauri burning a little bit more ERS than the Mercedes. Paris is out of ERS. And these drivers, they're all so close as they're coming through the final sector for the last time tonight. Paris is right. Paris has got a. Is that a puncture?
It is the front left. The front left of the Ferrari. The front left of Paris's car has punctured. Paris will not be in this fight as we come through the final few turns, but Vexit's got a puncture on the front left tire of the Racing Point. Domi moves through into first position. Shenjie through on the inside. We're on the final run to the line. Domi will cross first, Shenjie second. It will be Bito in third with Vexit crossing behind them, and it's Shenjie, Bito, Domi on the podium, and Vexit, he was about to take the win. He was about to take the win. The puncture blew it for the Racing Points.
I'll tell you something. He lost out to Paris as well. The puncture not only cost him positions, it cost him his final warning. So he lost to Paris as well. Domi, he's clawed on the podium after all of that.
That has got to be, Unicorn, one of the hands down greatest virtual races I have seen. Probably the greatest virtual race around France ever. I'm calling it now. Holy Machina, that was a race. Holy smokes.
Well, that just reminded me so much of Silverstone last year in the real world, but
look at that tire.
Way more action.
Look at the tire. Oh.
What a race. 2 in a row, and Shenjie takes it. Bito on his first podium of the season, and Domi as well. What a race. What a drive.
I'm shaking.
Utterly incredible.
Unbelievable. Wow. It is Shenjie with the victory. He started this race on pole position. What a dynamic race. He finishes with the win. Oh my, what a race this has been. Alex Bito from 10th to 2nd. It was Domi who started 3rd. He finishes in 3rd to complete a 3-4 for the Ferraris. Paris from 7th to 4th. Vexit 6th to 5th after such a superlative drive from the Racing Point. The puncture through into the final turn. This race is what you love to see, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have interviews in just a second. And of course, I think everybody's going to want to hear from the drivers at the end of that one. Oh my, oh.
I think that was 4 punctures in 2 laps. Well, maybe not 2 laps, maybe 4 laps, but that was a lot of punctures at the end of that one.
That was such a, Silverstone 2020 vibes. You got Vexit there. Oh my, what a race this was. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it, Unicorn.
That was truly just, what a spectacle. You don't see punctures like that. We don't see them a lot. We didn't. Yesterday, we had a situation we'd never seen before. And today, 2 punctures in the top 5s in the last sector. What is France doing for a Shenjie? Just really taking advantage. Bito, Domi. I wasn't expecting Domi on the podium, but there he is. We'll get him in here in just a moment. I cannot wait to hear what these drivers think, because, well, Vexit was just parked in the wrong place for the last corner with that puncture. So utterly crazy. Like you said it earlier in the race, you can't script this. You really can't. That was insane.
I have. All right, let's get it going. Let's get these interviews going. I had to catch myself for a second for this. Joining us on the podium for this race, P3. You started this race in 3rd. This had to be probably one of the greatest MRL drives to date. Domi, congratulations. Well, how was that?
I don't know words actually. Like, I was shaking on the last one because I was 80% front left, and I saw Vexit getting a puncher out of the, I don't know what's this corner called, the left-hander, and I was shouting on in voice with Alex to like that he has a puncher, so we can get like more points. But the 3 seconds is really unfortunate because I could have won this race if I don't get that. but it was very intensive. The last 3 laps was avoiding curves everywhere I could, literally.
What was it like behind the wheel, just from start to finish of this race? Because I'll tell you, Unicorn and I, well, we did not stop. There was a safety car. It gave us a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a, hey, let's have a beverage, quick drink, thank you very much. And then it was just back to action. So how was that for you?
I mean, I was trying to do soft hard, but I saw that the tire is pretty big, so I wanted to stretch my soft stint. But I saw everybody was spinning me, so I was worried for a second. And then safety car literally perfect momentum. Like if that safety car saved my ass so bad, I'm sorry for the words, but like that safety car perfect timing, then I noticed I'm at P1. And then I was a little bit worried because I was in a Racing Point sandwich. So I know Vexit and Sindaco are communicating usually on these races, so they might help each other. But thankfully I could get past Sindaco pretty like easily because he went wide. I think his tires are not the best. But yeah, getting that 3 seconds on the exit on last turn, that was pretty annoying as well. But then after that, literally just overtaking as many people as possible to put between cars, me and Vexit. But then I saw he has more pace than me, so I'm gonna let him by so I can DRS him to the end of the race and overtake him on the last lap. And basically, that's what happened with a little bit of puncher for him.
Well, it was a fantastic race for you, Domi, and congratulations on the P3. We'll look forward to seeing you in Austria, and enjoy your Easter break.
Thank you very much.
That was Domi. Ladies and gentlemen, now joining us, well, it is a person who's no stranger to the commentary booth. However, joining us, second place finisher here in this race, it's Alex Bitto. And before we go into this, I just want to set the stage. Before this race, I had asked, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Bitto a question. I said, are we going to love to see it, or are we going to hate to see it today? Alex Bitto, well, what do you think?
I think we're loving it. That was awesome, man. That was awesome. I'm happy with P2, but it seems like Tinder probably can take a penalty, so probably it can be a win.
Well,
oh man, that was super intense. I was shaking at the end. My muscles were literally done at the end. Domi as well was. Oh man, that was super intense.
where would you rank that for drives in MRL for you? Just it was a great drive. You did a lot of work in this race. A lot of work in this race.
Yeah, my pace was amazing. Actually, the lower wings on straight line spin was really helping me because I didn't know. Well, I actually wanted to push as much as I wish on straights, and I was getting the rivals there on the straight. But then my pace was bad on sector 3, but it wasn't. That didn't matter at that moment. So I think I was happy to stay with Paris and Baxter on first 10. Then safety car was lucky for the soft runners, but then very, very good pace I had, and I cured the tires very, very good. I don't know how.
Well, definitely be happy with that drive, and it'll be a question of what happens with the stewards. As you mentioned, there could be a change, but right now, second position finish. Do you have any messages for your, of course, Spanish fans in the chat?
Just thanks for the support, gracias por todo el apoyo, y a todos los que están ahí viendo siempre y apoyando a MRL, también a toda la comunidad.
Well, congratulations, Alex, and thanks again. Wow. Joining us now. Well, what a race this has been. Shenjay, congratulations on the win. I'm going to give you the Unicorn because I always like to give Unicorn the winners. But I just want to say from me to you, that was a very intense final few turns. Unicorn, take it away.
Well, Shenjay, congratulations. A week after you got P2, P1 this time, but being on the podium after a race like that, that's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, it was insane. I'm so hyped right now. I didn't think I was going to win a race this season, I'm not going to lie.
Well, P1, you told me before the race you didn't have the pace on the mediums. You told everyone that you were going for the soft hards. It's worked out for you here. There was those punctures left, right, and center. Talk us through the race. Talk us through the strategy and What was going through your mind in those final few laps?
The soft hard was completely unintentional because I was trying to do a safe lap, second lap of quality, like a 28.4, 28.5 maybe. So if I validate on mediums, I want to start last. But then I just went way too fast on that lap, and then I kind of committed myself accidentally to the softs because I saw literally everyone's going on mediums. So originally I was planning to do softs, but you need like at least I would say 7-8 people to do softs for it to work. But yeah, the safety car saved me. Totally not scripted safety car. My teammate causing it. But yeah, the safety car kind of saved me because then everyone is on the same age hard tires. So there's no pace advantage of the medium hard anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Then those punctures start coming in. We saw it. The last corner, you almost got caught out a little bit. You got Bitter on the inside, Vex it there, just, a city duck with a tire missing, basically. How scared were you that was going to go side, was going to go wrong? And, what were your thoughts in those final few moments?
Yeah, we were almost 3 wide. I was just hoping to cling on after Bitter because Bitter was on my outside for the hairpin and that he could carry a lot more speed on the exit. So I was just praying that we wouldn't die 3 wide and that I could hold basically the net lead after Domi got a penalty.
Well, you're on a good run of form right now. Second last week, first this week. Not a good finish for Valu. Paris P4 after that one, so he's still at the top. But how does this, help you? Obviously, we've got the break next week, but looking forward to the future. A lot of points on the board from this one. Do you think you can still run for that P1 in the standings overall?
I think P1 is gone to Paris. I hope I get P3 from Ace. Maybe P2 from Volley if he keeps bottling quali. But I don't think so. So I'm hoping for P3.
Well, again, stellar drive today. Tire management was absolutely key, and I think the soft hards there. You may not have intended it, but you put it in your name. It's coming clutch for you, and a huge congratulations for the win from such a dramatic race.
Thanks.
What a night. What a night, Unicorn. That is it for Tier 1, Round 10. And now we're going to have a break week. Of course, calendar now on screen. We will be back, of course, for Austria, Round 11, in just a couple weeks' time. We have Britain, Hungary. We have a ton of amazing circuits coming up. Of course, shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. Check them out on their website. The link is in the chat. And, of course, via the panels down below. And we will all over our social media. And of course, speaking of social media, if you did not know, we are on TikTok, Twitter, as well as Instagram. Jump on the social media. We have a ton of activity going on the Instagram and TikTok right now, so we greatly appreciate your support over there. But that is going to wrap it up for us. We have the Endurance Series coming up this weekend, and it will be, of course, Saturday. There's going to be a lot of racing going down for the Endurance Series. That's a 100% distance campaign, and of course, we are going to Bahrain to follow along with the Formula 1 calendar. And we have over, 61 drivers registered at the moment, so we might just see 2 races. We'll just have to see, but that will kick off at 6 p.m. EDT, 11 p.m. CET. So we'll hope to see you this coming Saturday for some endurance racing around Bahrain. Any closing regards, Unicorn, before we jump to the outro and raid a member of the F1 stream community?
Well, but again, after yesterday, I really didn't think that Tier 1 was going to produce a race quite so dramatic as the Tier 2 race we saw, but a Tier 1 for a reason, and, well, they proved me very, very wrong. That was absolutely incredible. There's still, obviously, Bahrain on Saturday, but a couple more French GPs, APAC Sunday, as well as F2. If they're anything as dramatic as if they're half as dramatic as this one, it's going to be absolutely crazy. Incredible racing from these guys. Huge congratulations to those on the podium, and big commiserations to the 4 drivers with punctures after that one. That was so crazy.
Definitely a crazy race. That's it for us, everyone. Have an excellent evening, and we will see you very, very soon for the Endurance Series on Saturday. And, of course, we still have some more racing around France with APAC on Sunday, as well as Formula 2. So we'll see you then, and that is it, and we'll see you in the next one.